The Missing Children Incident. Chapter 2. Pirate Cove. And then the terrifying Redbeard strikes. Roar! Shouted Finn as he swung his sword in the air and hit Joey on the neck. The stroke would have been lethal, definitely, if the sword wasn't made of paper. But Joe the Fearless dodges and strikes back, shouted Joey as he too swung his sword in the air like Finn's. He attacks Redbeard and strikes him through the heart. "Don't cheat, Joey, I killed you first," said Finn. "But I survived it." "Survived, eh? An execution?" Meanwhile the princess and her loyal knave, Ben, crawled through the fence and gets off, said Betty. "The princess doesn't go anywhere," Finn snapped. "Oh, why didn't she? And by the way, why am I always the princess?" Betty asked as she flipped her hair back. "Because Jenny doesn't want to be one," Finn said, rolling his eyes. "But please, don't interrupt the game in every second. You couldn't get away because you were locked in the captain's cabin." "But my knave, Ben, stole the key from the captain's pocket, which is you, Finn. So we are free and climbing into the lifeboat." "Ha! Stealing from my pocket?" huffed Finn. "I wonder how." "Then why am I here saving you when you basically saved yourselves?" asked Joey. "And let Ben speak as his own character, Betty. You don't tell him what to do, right Ben? You are the storyteller here. You don't need to be told what to do." Ben usually doesn't like when all the attention is on him. But he made an exception with his sister's friends. They treated him like an equal and not as some crybaby, despite the fact that Betty, Finn, and Joey are past 10 years old, and Ben being the youngest at only 9. They still respected him as a fellow friend. To be honest, there were a few months left to his 9th birthday, but still, he was closer to 9 than 8. Ben was a shy, retractive little boy who wasn't good at making friends. He was better at finding stories and told them for himself. One day, when Betty was babysitting him, she took him to Finn's and Jenny's house and told him to share a story with them. They were amused by Ben's story of space traveling and the adventures the characters went on. Now he barely remembered it, since he always found out so many new stories. He couldn't remember all of them, but he still had good memories of that day. "Hey Betty, your little brother is a genius," said Finn, who was, unspeakably, the leader of their group. "I love his tales. Why don't you bring with you next time we go to the pizzeria? It would be awesome. He could make up fun stories for our games." "That's a good idea, Finn. I think it would be really good for him too," said Betty as she looked over at Ben from the corner of her eyes. "He is always so quiet and alone. It would really make him happy to come play with us. Now he'll have someone besides himself to tell stories to." Ben knew they thought he couldn't hear them. He did. But he didn't care. Betty was right. But even if she wasn't, he would say she is. He listened more to his sister than he did to his mother, since he spent more time with her, and because Betty is older, he could go to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza with her, since their mother didn't want him to go alone. He loved that place so much. Everyone was so nice to the children and the atmosphere was so welcoming with its bright colors and happy-go-lucky workers. Plus the singing robots are so funny to watch. Ben also loved their cheerful songs. Since he began hanging out with Betty and her friends, He started coming out of his shell and even made friends in his class. But he liked being around his sister's friends more, and they never complained at all. "So I died for nothing?" asked Joey with a dramatic voice. He made his voice quiver, which made Ben laugh. "No, because you kept the captain busy by dueling him, which gave us plenty of time to escape." Ben flashed a wide-toothed grin. "So you admit that I executed you?" asked Finn. "Yes, but I didn't die," said Joey. "But it's impossible," giggled Ben. "Nothing is impossible for Fearless Joe." He tried making himself sound like an old, brave sea dog as he raised his paper sword. "Listen, kids, can't you just play a bit more quietly?" They suddenly heard a man's voice and they all jumped. A security guard from the pizzeria approached them, and pointed to one of the closer desks, where a beefy woman was glaring at them in quite a hostile mood over her pizza. That kind of pizza was called Family Chicken Dreams. Ben remembered it, because it sounded so silly. "You are annoying the lady over there. I can't believe that you are fighting an important fight. Just please, not so loudly." "Of course, Mr. Miles, we are sorry," said Finn with a remorseful face. "We are sorry," spoke Betty too. "Pirates are always doing what they want," hissed Joey after the guard had went back to the other desk, and reposed the fat woman. "Those brats, they are just shouting and fighting. They are not able to do anything else." The woman's croak was so loud that they were able to hear, although the diner was quite noisy. "And we are the ones who are shouting?" Finn shook his head. "That woman is angry for sure." The last one of their group, Jenny, Finn's cousin, lumped down on her chair. "What did I miss?" Jenny was the other girl among them, and thanks to her, Betty was the one who had to be the kidnapped princess in every games. She liked more badass roles, and she only liked pirate and thief princesses. "I be Joe, Joe the Fearless in a straw duel," said Finn. "No way. I wanted to fight him too. As I've said, I survived his blow." "Okay," said Joey. "So Jenny will have an opponent too." "She had not supposed to fight, but guard us," said Betty. "But she has left to the bathroom, so—" "Oh no," whined Jenny. "Have you even escaped? Couldn't you just wait until I came back? And we even robbed you, took all your jewelry," said Betty with a mischievous smile. "No, not my jewelry," cried Jenny with a completely theatrical voice, and so loud that she earned the hostile glare of the fat woman again. "What kind of pirate princess you are?" twinkled Finn at her. "You are robbed better than you robbed." "Did you even rob her?" "Yeah, but it wasn't worth it. I can't wear her rings because of my hook," said Jenny in a grumpy voice. Joey got elated. "Why don't we make some pirate accessories?" "Okay, we have 2 swords, but we need some hook and eye patch and stuff." "Wait, I have some carton paper, remained from the art lesson, in my bag." This idea actually popped up in Ben's mind a bit earlier, but he didn't want to be the smart guy. He was happy with the idea anyway and watched as Joey started to search in his bag for the art things. But Finn interrupted him. "Listen, we shouldn't do it here. The desk is really dirty, and I'm not sure the staff would be happy if we will start drawing and cutting paper here. We should go back to Pirate Cove." so we can see Foxy and take a look at his eye patch and hook. Foxy was one of the animatronics, a fox, but also a pirate, and Finn loved him since he first saw him. He liked that Foxy's fur is the same color as his own hair. But Ben didn't really like Foxy. He was a bit scared of those sharp teeth. He had so many. He liked all the other animatronics. They were funny as they were singing on the stage. Freddy's singing was fun. The way Bonnie the bunny played the guitar was cool, and he even liked Chica the chicken with her pink, smiling cupcake which she always carried around in her hands. He wasn't really scared by those many teeth. But why hasn't Foxy never teamed up with the others? Ben didn't know, and he was disturbed. Why does Foxy dislike the other animatronics? Or do they dislike him? And why does Foxy wear an eye patch when he has an eye under it? Sometimes he turns it up and he stares at the people with his round, yellow eye. He is not really a friendly guy. But Ben knew that that's why Finn likes him, because Foxy is a specimen, a pirate, and he does what he wants. He doesn't make fun of himself on the stage. It's not cool. He has a ship and treasures instead, which is cool indeed, and being cool was something that Finn liked. Not if he is funny or not. So Ben took the matter in good part, and didn't complain. It's not like he is afraid of Foxy. Oh no, he just doesn't like him that much. That's all. The Pirate Cove was on the other part of the building. It worked as a playground for kids who got bored from eating with their parents. They were getting themselves ready. But suddenly Betty brought out, "Wait, I'm thirsty. I buy some drink. You guys just go and I'll be there in a minute." "I'll go with you," said Ben, who didn't really care if he missed his meeting with Foxy. Not as he was afraid. Of course, not at all. "Okay, meet ya there then," said Finn, and they moved forward Pirate Cove. Joey run on the front, swinging his paper sword. Ben followed Betty to the cash desks where his sister ordered some drink. Ben was always amused how easily she handles such adult things like money. He has never dared to pay to anyone, because he would become nervous and mess things up, and the adults would look at him ugly. They'd even yell at him. But unlike at him, everyone was smiling at Betty. They handled her as one of them. Ben didn't like to talk to strangers, not even in Fazbear's. Although the staff was really nice with kids, when he had to talk to adults, he casted down his eyes and started to mutter, which made adults to talk to him in a high-minded way. After Betty paid, they walked forward Pirate Cove. They were almost there when Betty stopped. "Heck," she hissed in a struggle. "I can't open this blasted thing. I always forget how tightly they are closed. So what now? Should I die from thirst?" With a bottle full of drink in my hand, she started to laugh, but a bit awkwardly. But Ben had an idea. He wasn't just a storyteller. He was also good in solving problems, in the theoretic way. "Of course. Ask Mr. Miles," he advised, and when Betty looked at him he added, "I saw one day that a girl from the cash desks also asked him to help her. You are a genius, little bro. Why didn't I think of that? What would I be without you?" She smiled at Ben, which made him really happy. Helping out his sister, they rushed to the security desk where Mr. Miles and another security guard were staying. They didn't know those other guy's name because he never wear his name tag, but he was pretty nice too. Mr. Miles was very helpful. Here, he handed over the opened bottle. They are shut really tight, right? Yeah, you know that very well, said the other guard from the background, and he winked at Ben with a grin on his face. Everyone asks him to open those bottles. That's what I thought too, said Ben, and being so brave surprised himself a lot. When everyone looked at him, he casted down his eyes immediately. Mr. Miles laughed at him and gently slapped him on the back. And you were so right. I will have no other job here soon than opening bottles. The other guard turned away, giggling. Ben didn't understand what's so funny, but he didn't really care because he was so happy that an adult talks to him and not in a way like he was retarded. Thanks a lot. It was a big help, said Betty with a smile on her face. Come again if you have bottle problems again. Mr. Miles waved for them a friendly goodbye. Ben and Betty started to walk to the corridor to Pirate Cove again, but they didn't reach too far when they met with the others. They looked very disappointed. They said we can't see Foxy for a while, lamented Finn. Pirate Cove is out of order, added Joey. They rebuilt it or what? Jenny looked at her watch. Oh, I should slowly start to go home. Mom said I had to be back before 5 a.m. I'll come with you, sighed Finn, and took a last unhappy look towards Pirate Cove. They walked away with Joey, who lived very close to them. Finn's and Jenny's parents lived in each other's neighborhood. Meanwhile Betty Finn sighed her bottle of drink, and after a bit of listening to the animatronics show, they also left. Next time we should play how we fled from Captain Redbeard through the great ocean, said Ben. Course. Just find me a character who is not a princess. I want to play with swords someday. Who said a princess can't use swords? Wee eel. That kind of princess I was never let her hands be dirty. And don't you want to be a pirate, by the way? No, I wouldn't be a good pirate. Joe and Redbeard would slaughter me in a moment. I'm much like a thief. A good one. But not as good as I, laughed Betty. They walked through the parking, laughing and joking, and they weren't aware that not so long ago a young girl in their age died a horrible death there. Maybe if they were aware, or at least their parents were, their story would follow a whole different line. And Ben's mother wouldn't plan his son's 9th birthday party at such a place. But as we know, fate is like a crazy train. It smashes anyone on its way and none can do anything against it. After they left, Barney got really excited. Today, he can approach them with a totally fair reason. Twice. What's more, he didn't just approach them but also talked to them. The second time, they were the ones who went to him, because they needed him, okay, for such a trivial thing like opening a bottle, but still, and they asked him. Now he don't have to rely on his imagination how Betty's voice sounds when she is begging. And before that, when he had to rebuke them, they listened to him immediately, and he can hear that sweet little voice again. We are sorry. It was beautiful, as she said it, so humble. But then an annoying voice interrupted his pleasant thoughts. The little bottle opener, cackled Scott. See mate, Every girl wants you to open their bottles." He narrowly punctuated the quote marks, even imitated them with his hands. "Be quiet, you are disgusting," snapped Barney at him, but Scott just giggled. "Teach me, master, to make the girls hold their bottles for me too," he grinned, and it made Barney flush and turn away. He knew that Scott can't see his mind. He wouldn't giggle so joyfully. Oh, he wouldn't, that's sure. But he got too close, dangerously close, to the truth with his funny note. He turned back to him, but Scott wasn't much of a problem with him anymore. He was talking to some kid's dad. Barney walked away, to prevent his colleague to crack some silly joke about the bottles again, and tried to forget any thoughts about Ben and Betty. No, don't think about how soft the girl's fingers touched his hand when she took her drink, how fragile the boy's bones felt under his shirt, how their eyes were sparkle when they listened to him. The hunger rose inside him stronger before. He wanted to be the last one to see their eyes spark.